Did you know that the human skull is not a single bone, but a puzzle of 22 individual plates, fused together by time? Welcome back to the BioSleep Archives. Tonight, we turn our gaze upward to the alabaster dome, nature's helmet, the cranium. Prepare to explore the silent vault that houses the universe of your mind. Let the heavy doors of perception close. As we examine the shield, we shift our focus now from the central pillar to the mobile appendages of the body, the limbs, and the girdles that attach them to the center. We move from the stability of the axis to the freedom of the reach. Our inspection begins at the upper attachment point, the pectoral girdle. This structure is designed for exceptional mobility rather than brute strength. It is a delicate suspension system consisting of only two bones, the anterior clavicle and the posterior scapula. The clavicle, the collarbone, it is a highly distinctive bone, resembling an ancient key, often described as an S-shaped strut, one of the most superficially placed bones in the body, lying just beneath the surface, easily felt beneath the skin. Its structural role is paramount. It acts as a bridge, a rigid beam pushing outward, holding the shoulder blade away from the rib cage, providing maximum clearance for the arm to move, allowing it to swing freely in the void. The medial end articulates with the sternum. The lateral end meets the scapula, linking the limb to the fortress. The scapula, the shoulder blade. It is a large, thin plate of bone, almost translucent in certain lights. It rests silently upon the back of the rib cage, floating on a sea of muscle. Because it has no direct bony connection to the spine, it glides freely, like a ship on a dark ocean, or a silent wing folded against the back. On the posterior surface, a sharp ridge is visible, the spine of the scapula, like a mountain range rising from a plain. This ridge terminates in a flattened, smooth projection, the acromion, a superior point on the shoulder, providing attachment for the powerful trapezius muscle. Extending from the girdle, we find the bone of the upper arm, the humerus. This single, long bone acts as a heavy lever, manipulating objects, generating power. It meets the scapula at the shoulder joint, a highly mobile ball and socket connection, designed for infinite rotation. The superior end of the alabaster humerus presents a large, smooth head, a perfect sphere. Below this, the neck marks the line where the head fuses to the shaft. Deep inside the top of this bone, hidden within the spongy tissue, lies red bone marrow, a vital reservoir for blood stem cells, a secret river of life flowing inside the stone. The shaft tapers downward toward the elbow, forming a powerful, yet elegantly structural component of the silent architecture. We shift our deep internal contemplation from the dense, heavy architecture of the long bone shafts, moving toward the elegant junctions where skeletal elements meet. These critical junctures, known as joints, are the sites where the rigid alabaster framework achieves graceful mobility, where the fortress learns to bend. The majority of the body's limbs rely upon a highly specialized connection, the synovial joint. These are the quintessential movable joints, anatomically classified as diarthroses, signifying their ability to permit free, encompassing movement. In life, the articulating ends of the opposing bones never truly touch. They are separated by a sliver of eternity. Instead, they are coated in a layer of articular cartilage. This covering is composed of hyaline cartilage, named for the Greek word for glass, a smooth, resilient tissue. Imagine the surface as polished, wet porcelain, glistening in the dark. This tissue is designed to withstand the massive impact forces of movement, absorbing the shock of the world. The matrix contains small, delicate collagen fibrils woven into a microscopic lattice, allowing the tissue to resist compression, acting as a foundational, slightly yielding base. In a healthy individual, this smooth cushion can be up to 2 millimeters thick, ensuring that the bone surfaces never grind against one another, preserving the tranquility of the skeletal movements, allowing you to move through the world in absolute silence. A smooth, resilient tissue. Imagine the surface as polished, wet porcelain, glistening in the internal dark. This tissue is designed to withstand the massive impact forces of movement, absorbing the weight of existence. The matrix contains small, delicate collagen fibrils, woven like invisible silk, allowing the tissue to resist compression, acting as a foundational, slightly yielding base. In a healthy individual, this smooth cushion can be up to 2 millimeters thick, a microscopic barrier, ensuring that the bone surfaces never grind against one another, preserving the absolute tranquility of the skeletal movements. Encapsulating this precise interface is the articular capsule, the woven fibrous sheath that seals the joint space from the chaos outside. The outer fibrous layer is exceptionally dense, structurally continuous with the tough external wrapping of the bone. The periosteum. This heavy outer wrapping serves as the joint's external fortress, providing stability against tension, holding the bones together in an eternal embrace. Lining the interior is the synovial membrane, a delicate inner skin. This inner layer secretes the specialized lubricating fluid that fills the space. The characteristic feature of all freely movable joints is the joint cavity, a secret chamber, a space filled entirely with synovial fluid. This fluid is the essence of synovial silence. It is not simple water. It is ancient. It possesses a distinct, viscous, slippery texture, often likened to raw egg white or liquid glass. This fluid acts as a lubricant, coating the cartilages, reducing friction to an absolute minimum. Movements are rendered virtually friction-free, allowing the bony ends to move like smooth gears gliding in thick oil, without a sound. It also acts as a nutrient reservoir, the lifeblood of the joint, nourishing the cartilage cells and silently removing metabolic wastes, keeping the waters clear. Within larger joints, we find structures known as articular discs, composed of tough fibrocartilage. These dense discs extend internally from the capsule, like silent washers. When the shape of the bones is mismatched, the disc acts to fill the gaps, improving the fit, ensuring that load forces are evenly distributed, minimizing wear, and preserving the delicate porcelain surfaces. The entire design results in complex, quiet motion, from the rigid calcium fortress beneath to the smooth cartilage, sealed by the capsule and lubricated by oil. This is the perfection of silent underwater movement, where friction is conquered and mobility is absolute. From the powerful humerus, we track the skeletal continuity into the forearm. This region is defined by two parallel long bones, twin pillars of the arm, the ulna, positioned medially, on the side of the little finger, and the radius, on the side of the thumb. These two bones maintain a constant connection. They do not stand alone, linked by a flat, fibrous sheet, the interosseous membrane, a tight, woven sheet of fibers, stretching between the twin pillars like a silent sail, a woven tension band. distributing the forces generated through the arm, keeping the two bones in eternal alignment. The articulations between the radius and the ulna enable a unique form of rotation, a slow structural dance, when the palm faces forward or upward toward the sky. The bones lie parallel, side by side in peace. This is supination. However, the action of pronation turns the palm backward, toward the earth. During this motion, the radius pivots, crossing over the passive ulna to form an X, a mechanical embrace in the dark. The ulna is structurally superior at the elbow, the master of the hinge, contributing heavily to the joint, forming the sharp prominence of the elbow, the olecranon, the hook that anchors the arm. Conversely, the radius travels downward, widening at the wrist, becoming the primary bone of connection to the hand, carrying the hand through space. Moving distally, we arrive at the carpus, the true wrist, a complex collection of ancient geometry. This region contains 8 marble-sized short bones, the carpals. These bones are arranged like smooth river pebbles, set in a tight mosaic, permitting small, gliding movements, shifting against one another to grant the wrist its fluid flexibility. They are organized into 2 rows. Only the scaphoid and lunate bones articulate directly with the radius, receiving the weight of the hand. The ulna is separated by a disc of cartilage, floating apart. The arrangement creates a deep concavity, a hollow arch, covered by a dense band of tissue, forming the confined space known as the carpal tunnel, a protected passage in the dark, shielding the tendons that travel into the palm. Like cables in a conduit, distal to the wrist lies the metacarpus, forming the hidden structure of the palm. 5 small, long bones radiate outward, like the rays of a star, their heads forming the knuckles, hard nodes beneath the skin. Finally, the digits, constructed of miniature bones called phalanges, the term evoking a row of soldiers, standing in silent formation. These are the ultimate, delicate instruments of the silent architecture, instruments of touch, with the exception of the thumb. Each finger has 3 segments, tiny muscles nestled between the bones, performing precise movements in the dark. The hand embodies extraordinary complexity, marrying the brute strength of the arm with fine, artistic dexterity, all within a framework of tranquility. We now settle our complete attention upon the base of the axial pillar, the pelvic girdle, the great basin of the body. This structure provides the foundational attachment for the lower limbs, designed not for fluidity, but for unyielding stability and stone-like strength. The pelvic girdle is a robust assembly, comprised of the paired hip bones, the sacrum, and the coccyx. Together, they form a deep, basin-like bony pelvis, a cradle for the organs. This entire alabaster fortress is attached to the spine by powerful ligaments, securing the limbs and bearing the full weight of the upper body. Each individual hip bone, the os coxae, is a highly irregular structure, originating from the quiet fusion of 3 separate bones. 3 become 1. The superior ilium, the posterior ischium, and the anterior pubis. The large, concave interior surface of the ilium is known as the iliac fossa, a smooth wing of bone. Posteriorly, the roughened auricular surface articulates with the sacrum, the precise location where the body's weight is transmitted from the pillar to the pelvis. Now, focus on the sensation of your weight pressing downward. If you are seated, feel the bony structures sinking into your support. That specific pressure is borne entirely by the rough, thickened surfaces of the ischium, the ischial tuberosities. These are the foundation stones. They absorb and anchor the gravitational pull. On the lateral aspect lies a deep, hemispherical socket, the acetabulum, derived from the Latin term for vinegar cup. This deep cup firmly secures the superior long bone of the lower limb, locking it into place. Extending into the thigh region, we find the single bone of the leg, the femur, anatomically renowned as the largest, longest, and strongest bone in the entire body, the monolith of the thigh. Its structure is built to withstand immense stress. It is the ultimate skeletal pillar. Visualize this Titan pillar now. Its end is capped by the ball-shaped head, which articulates deep within the socket, moving smoothly in the dark. The head connects to the shaft via the neck of the femur. Just below are massive processes serving as powerful muscle insertions, the greater and lesser trochanters. Along the posterior surface runs a prominent ridge, the linea aspera, evidence of the power attached to this stone. As the femur descends toward the knee, it courses inward, a deliberate architectural choice to improve balance. Just before the shin, we encounter a floating shield, the patella, the kneecap, a triangular pearl, embedded within the tendon, protecting the joint mechanism, like a diamond in the rough. The patella, the kneecap, a triangular pearl, embedded within the heavy tendon, a floating shield, protecting the delicate joint mechanism. Below the knee, the tibia stands as the most massive bone of the leg, the shin bone, a pillar of white stone, receiving the body's weight from above and transmitting it directly to the foot. Its inner bulge forms the ankle. Beside it, the lateral, stick-like fibula, a slender companion. It carries no weight, but provides stabilization, like a buttress on a cathedral wall. Feel the immense force of gravity acting upon this system, the ancient pull of the earth. Visualize the entire weight of your body being silently channeled through the hip, down the heavy femur, through the stout tibia, and finally spreading into the bones of the foot. The skeleton anchors you firmly. It holds you safe, allowing the legs to sink deeply, passively, into the support beneath you, surrendering to the pull, maintaining perfect tranquility. We now move from the dense, mineralized shell of the bone, the white armor, seeking the deepest, most protected void within the alabaster framework. We descend into the very core of the long bone's shaft, into the space known as the medullary cavity. This is the deepest vault of the skeleton, a hollow central cylinder running the length of the bone. It is a profound emptiness, a silent tunnel, yet critically filled with soft, living tissue, performing functions indispensable for life itself. The presence of this hollow space is a mechanical masterpiece, the wisdom of the design, lightening the heavy skeleton while maintaining strength. A hollow structure resists bending forces better than a solid rod. It bends, but does not break, confirming the efficiency of this silent architecture. Before reaching the main cavity, we must traverse the inner walls. The spongy bone. This tissue presents a honeycomb network, a lattice of small beams called trabeculi. The open spaces within this lattice are not empty. They are filled with soft, internal tissue, bone marrow. The matrix is composed of specialized reticular connective tissue, woven fibers forming an intricate network, resembling a branching series of protected caves deep inside the body. The tissue responsible for the creation of life itself is the red bone marrow. This is the silent factory in the dark, perpetually and quietly manufacturing the blood, the crimson river of life, in adults. This vital marrow is concentrated in specific, protected locations within the spongy bone of the spine, the hips, and the ends of the long bones, hidden away. The production process requires an exceptional transport system. Numerous wide capillaries known as blood sinusoids run through the tissue, like underground streams. As immature blood cells mature, they silently migrate into the bloodstream. This microscopic exchange is constant, maintaining the integrity and tranquility of the circulatory reservoir. In contrast to the active factory, much of the remaining space is occupied by yellow bone marrow, filling the vast central hollow of the long limb bones. Yellow marrow is fundamentally dormant, sleeping, composed chiefly of fat cells. Functionally, it is a substantial reservoir of stored energy, a critical, readily available source, liquid gold held in reserve. Should the body face extreme need, a hidden treasury waiting in the dark. Thus, the internal space is dynamically allocated, balanced between movement and rest. The red marrow as the active source of life, the crimson forge, the yellow marrow as the silent energy store, liquid gold held in reserve, both residing within the protected porcelain matrix, performing their vital functions deep within the deepest vault, ensuring the tranquility and survival of the organism. Our profound exploration culminates now. We descend to the very bottom, at the foundation of human posture, the foot bones, the base of the pillar. This distal region carries and supports the entire weight of the body, the atlas of the lower world, experiencing massive forces during every movement, absorbing the shock of the earth. The foot structure is functionally separated into three parts: the tarsals, the metatarsals, and the phalanges. The posterior half of the foot contains 7 tarsal bones, comparable to the wrist, yet profoundly stronger, built for burden. The greatest portion of the body's weight is carried by the 2 largest bones, the talus, the turtle shell bone, which articulates with the leg, receiving the pillar of the shin, and the strong calcaneus. The calcaneus, known as the heel bone, is the largest tarsal, a massive block of calcium. It serves as the deep, anchoring stone of the foot structure. The thick tendon of the calf muscles attaches securely to its posterior surface, the strongest cable in the body, resisting the forward pull of gravity, holding the entire structure in quiet, stable alignment. The foot is capable of supporting great weight only because it is precisely arched, a masterpiece of engineering. These arches are not rigid bridges. They are not dead stone, but springy architectural vaults, living masonry, distributing the mechanical stress. 3 fundamental arches are maintained by the interlocking shapes of the bones, like the ceiling of a Gothic cathedral, reinforced by strong ligaments. The powerful talus is the keystone of the medial arch, the stone that holds the roof. Collectively, these elements form a half dome, distributing weight to the heel and to the ball of the foot. This woven lattice allows the arches to give silently when pressure is applied, flattening under the weight of the world, and then resiliently springing back, returning to form. The 5 metatarsals radiate out into the anterior foot, long bones reaching forward. Their enlarged porcelain heads form the ball of the foot. Finally, the 14 toe bones complete the structure, smaller and less nimble than the fingers, but rooted, yet essential for gripping the earth, giving you purchase on the ground. Our meticulous journey through the silent architecture is complete. The tour of the fortress is done. We have traveled from from the cranial fortress, the dome of the mind, to the central spinal pillar, through the elastic supports of the limbs, and finally, to the grounding foundation stones of the feet. Every structural element is accounted for: the dense compact bone, the white walls, the porous inner matrix, the sponge within, and the mineralized reservoir of calcium. Allow the final remnants of external sound to fade. Let the world disappear. Feel the deep, grounding weight of the heel resting against the surface beneath you. Connection with the earth. The work of the skeleton is done for the moment. It has carried you all day. There is no further need for movement, tension, or active support. The gravity takes over now. The silent architecture stands in perfect tranquility. The gates are closed. Rest now in this deep anatomical knowledge. Sleep. Before we close the gates of the fortress, let us integrate the whole. We have traveled the length of the limbs, the appendages of motion. Now, they must cease all function. Visualize your body lying in the dark, a landscape of white stone. Bring your awareness to the four corners of your form: the left arm, the right arm, the left leg, the right leg. Feel them simultaneously. They are no longer separate tools. They are heavy anchors, sinking into the seabed. Return your focus to the arms, lying by your sides: the humerus, the radius, the ulna. Feel them turning incredibly dense now, as if the marrow within has turned to lead. Gravity is pulling them downward, pressing the skin against the sheets. There is no impulse to lift them. The nerve signals have gone quiet. The connection is silent. Now, shift the weight of your mind to the legs, the massive pillars, the femur, the tibia, the fibula. Feel the sheer mass of these stones. They have carried you through the world all day, resisting the earth. Now, they surrender to it. Feel the muscles of the thighs unspooling, melting off the bone, the knees unlocking, the calves flattening against the surface, the ankles rolling outward in perfect release. Imagine the heavy mineral salts within your bones: calcium, phosphate, responding to the magnetic pull of the earth below you. You are being held, not by effort, but by density. The skeleton is doing the work. You are simply the consciousness resting within it, safe inside the fortress. Feel the pectoral girdle, the shoulders dropping back, opening the chest to the rhythm of the breath. Feel the pelvic girdle, the heavy basin, settling deep into the support, grounding you. There is no tension left in the pulleys. The levers are at rest. The ropes are slack. The silent architecture is unified, heavy, still, and clear. You are a statue of peace, resting in a garden of silence. Drift now, deeper into this weight. We have explored the great dome of the mind. The cranium stands secure, but this heavy alabaster sphere cannot float in the void. It requires a pillar, a serpent of bone to hold it against the sky. In the next archive, we descend the central axis, the vertebral column, from the atlas that carries the world to the sacrum that anchors the soul. 33 stones stacked in perfect silence. Join us next time as we trace the path of the serpent. Until then, rest your heavy head and drift into the dark.